on the rookie on the side of Fnatic here. Lulu ban signals a Malzahar first pick. So Fnatic needs to decide if they want to get rid of it or if they take one of the traditional picks. This will also mean Fnatic can just grab the Rengar if they want it, or the Graves, and then kind of be like, yeah, you ban Lee Sin and Lee's. We don't really care.
All right, instead, a little bit of a mix-up. Despite banning Lee, gonna go for that Rengar, as it is open and available.
See, I like getting Malzahar here then if you're Fnatic. And you can either then get preferred AD carry, which is the Jhin for a lot of teams, or you can take Malzahar Ashe, which is a fantastic strong 2v2 lane, or Malzahar plus your jungler is another good option. If you just want to match jungle picks, you can go Malzahar Graves then. So there's a lot of like options now for Fnatic because a lot of the bans are like very target focused, like Lee Sin, Lee's, Lulu, like everything from Unicorns is directly targeted. It's not general OPs they're removing, like we see on the other side.
All right, so where do they go with this next pick rather?
AD carry or jungle is what we're expecting.
You've mentioned quite a few. How about they do both? It's an AD carry jungle.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, sorry.
No, that's fine. It's fine. Yeah, we mentioned the Graves. Makes a lot of sense. Unicorns got to decide if they want either Jhin or Ashe as the standard AD carries here. I'm expecting them to have something ready for Malzahar because they knew he was going to get locked in when they picked Rengar. MF is a very traditional pick. Lulu, of course, is already banned by Unicorns on their own.
Well, Jhin went well last game, and obviously Shen was banned as well. So this time round, locking in that Shen. Very good champion for Vizicsacsi as well.
It definitely is. But they are leaving support, meaning Fnatic can get to ban away things like Tahm Kench now. And obviously, something we saw earlier today being used very effectively against the Malzahar in Splice versus G2. Against the Jhin, a lot of options, honestly. Sivir is one of them. Ezreal is another. Ashe, like you can play almost anything here if you are Fnatic in terms of the bottom lane.
So I want to go back to this top lane pick, right? Shen, for Vizicsacsi, it's his most played champion by a significant margin. 7 games so far. sOAZ has the ability to counter pick, as does Caps. So where do you think Fnatic will be inclined to go?
Well, for now, I mean, they can take the top laner first and then wait to get another counter pick, as you said, for Caps. So like a Nautilus coming in. Could be a ban from Unicorns of Love. There is a lot of like different carry tops you can play against Shen, like Rumble, Trundle. All these are very, very good. But I wonder if Unicorns will get rid of Rumble and Nautilus, or if they're actually going to leave some of these tops open. It would be weird. I like the Rumble ban here, so I definitely agree so far with them. And I think Fnatic should ban Tahm Kench. It can be so annoying to play in Malzahar against it. You can definitely do it, but
it's just frustrating.
It's just frustrating.
Yeah. And add Tahm Kench and Shen together, it gets even harder.
It does. Fnatic here might be saying, though, they're not going to pick Tahm Kench because they want a strong 2v2 bot lane, so they can use the Shen ulti down to that bottom lane to put pressure on the turret. But I still think it would have been a fine ban here. If they leave it open, Hylissang has played it quite a lot in the past. But knowing Hylissang, he might also have something different. Like MF is not a typical Hylissang champion, but it will give lane advantage to the Unicorns of Love in the bottom lane. They can then use the Shen ulti around, which will be very strong. And we get the 2 top lane bans I mentioned with both Nautilus and Rumble.
And MF, of course, is one of Jez's most played champions, so at least he should be comfortable and aware of how to play into it, but it'll be very different for him. Obviously, he's got that Malzahar locked in. We're anticipating potential tank. Poppy obviously raised in priority, and yes, we're going to see a crocodile here. I'm French, sOAZ says. That's a real old one, if anyone remembers that.
That is definitely an old school one.
That's a golden oldie.
But we brought some old school ones up yesterday.
And it allows Caps to also counter pick in the mid lane.
Yes, which is a very important thing.
Syndra, maybe?
Syndra or Cassiopeia are the 2 I'm looking at right now for Caps. Always have to remember the potential Katarina that can happen. Support, ooh, Zilean, I like it, spicy. Spicy from the Unicorns of Love, coming in as a pick against the Malzahar very specifically.
And also good synergy everywhere. Movement speed for Rengar, obviously shield as well. Cassio into Rengar, Shen, Jhin, do you like that? Do you not like that?
Cassio is a fine matchup against the Ryze in the mid lane. And while yes, against the Shen, it can be a bit annoying. You can run Cleanse, and then you can use that for these late game fights in case you do get taunted up. Otherwise, Ghost is the other option for extra mobility. So overall here, a Fnatic comp with a lot of damage on the side. Like actually 5 champions who deal a very large amount of damage, especially in the mid game. And then further on to late game with Ezreal and Cassiopeia. Unicorns of Love with a very standard Unicorns draft, honestly. Yes. Shen, Rengar, Ryze, like these are 3 of the most picked champions for this team because it allows you to play like 3 lanes at once. It allows you to have catch potential, and the Shen ulti often enables them when they are playing these very, very aggressive, you know, team comps where they do overextend. And then whenever they get caught, Shen ulti happens and it kind of saves the day.
Unicorns overextend? No.
No.
I don't think so.
Well, they forgot to do it in the last game.
Well, we'll find out what Unicorns can do with this team composition. What is becoming a bit of a recurring theme this season is these sort of no-tank comps and how we judge a team's ability to play them. Obviously, Graves will eventually scale in that way. Renekton wants to try put some pressure and split push. So Fnatic, how well can you play this style? And how do they handle the potential pressure from Rengar? Because if they are trying to enable and allow Renekton to play on a bit of a side lane, obviously Rengar could have some tools, especially if Ryze wants to join in.
Right, I mean, you probably won't see Unicorns focus too much on the Renekton himself. Like, he's going to push down the Shen. Graves is not the greatest diving jungler because you can hide behind the tower and he kind of shoots into the tower instead of actually shooting you. So we often see like Renekton with the leash, but that was banned in this case here. So sOAZ will have the pressure, but I want to see what Unicorns can do mid and bot lane.
Well, we're going to find out. We're loading up onto the Rift. Half the crowd supporting the Unicorns of Love, half the crowd supporting Fnatic. And as it stands, it's Fnatic at 1-0. For what it's worth, Deficio, Fnatic did more with the single inhibitor they killed than the Unicorns did with the 5 inhibitors.
I love this. I love when we have 2 different fan groups. I'm glad we don't have any hooligans here either. Just stick to cheering.
I love the cheering, I love the energy, and I'm glad to see that despite the rough spring split in 2017, Fnatic fans are still here in force. 4 wins, 4 losses. It's been a tough time if you support the Fnatic squad.
This game right here, Trevor, could be the turnaround for Fnatic in this season, because if they manage to take a 2-0 win over the Unicorns of Love, one of the best teams in Group B, that would be fantastic for them moving towards playoffs. Fnatic obviously want to get ready for that, very specifically. Want to show what they can do in what we expect to be a quarterfinal for now. We're not going to pluck them in G2 spot and give them the semi-final just yet. So they have to take the long route towards...
The alternative, of course, if UOL turn it around, if UOL close this series out, right, they're 1 step closer to that semi-final.
Yes, they are.
There is a lot at stake. Taking a look, Fnatic starting off on that Raptor camp. The sOAZ helps out Broxah, Xerxe and Shashi onto the Sentinel, and Samux, by the way, just starting with a pair of boots on that Jhin.
I want to see the pathing now from Xerxe because he started blue buff. Not something we traditionally see very often from a lot of junglers. Like, again, we've seen more and more of the Raptor camp start. But obviously on the bottom side, you're not getting much of a leash then. Then it has to be the Ryze giving a few hits to you. So I want to see what his pathing is going to be. If he's just going to do in full farming mode, just takes every single camp on the bottom side. Rekkles get like double longsword.
Jesiz starting with Malefic Visions and Rekkles hitting so many of those Mystic shots and autos. Right, going to keep pushing forward. Hilly's down to 200 HP and burning through those cookies.
One of the problems for Zilean support is the fact that he has to choose between pushing or harassing. If he uses the bomb on minions, he's not going to hit you at all. And this time, Hylissang opted into hitting Rekkles twice. So yes, he burns a potion, which is good, but lost the push here. That means level 2 for Fnatic early.
Yeah.
Hylissang and Samux will get it right there.
So, +5 CS, at least from his first couple of waves. Rekkles and Jesiz playing extremely aggressively.
But Rekkles, Doran's played 1 potion. Mithy and Sven, in your interview earlier today, talked about how hard it is now in this meta to kind of bully out lanes, because you can just run boots and 4 potions. So yes, Samux was down to like 1/2, 2 bars earlier. He's back to full HP and he still has potions left. And now it's Rekkles who's actually losing out on a sustain trade.
Well, on game 1, it was Rekkles. They got first blood with the help of a good gank. Samux and Rekkles, you can see the stats from game 1 on your screen. Rekkles dealing a high percentage of his team's damage, obviously, because they were behind for a lot of the game and then won multiple team fights back to back to back, landing great skill shots.
And I think Rekkles has been, honestly, a very good player this split. I'm not sure why I said honestly right there. It's not like I'm normally lying to you guys when I talk about Rekkles, but I think he's been very, very good. I think he's been dealing a ton of damage, even on a team that's been struggling for quite a lot of it. and he never really falls behind in lane. So he's been a very consistent player, which is a very standard thing for him. Now I want to see in this bottom lane if Unicorns can keep kind of landing the harass and kind of win again that potion war. Caps here taking some damage and potential gank from Xerxe. Oh, the gank.
Xerxe is going to jump onto Caps, cleanse, and Flash comes out. Flash forward from Xerxe. Caps gives up first blood, secured by Xerxe. Broxah wants to make something happen. He's got a flash available, but needs to reload that shotgun. Gonna tag an auto, and unfortunately, Broxah can't reply.
And again, we make a lot of excuses for Caps because he's a rookie, and we think he's really, really good, like mechanically. But he's making some of these really odd decisions in lane. Like last game when he took the trade against Exileh, he didn't have to take, lost his flash and died right after. Jesiz is in mid lane.
All right, flash and exhaust is available to Jesiz. Exileh, no flash, but Ghost is up. The crabs and the shotgun take him down.
All right, a 1-for-1 in the end. As I was saying though about Caps, you know, here, trade so aggressively towards the right side of his lane here, towards the top side, where he had a very defensive ward that couldn't actually spot Xerxe. So he was playing to the wrong side. And that's why he gets ganked and actually dies to a pre-level 6 Rengar gank. Luckily for Fnatic though, Jesiz shows up and Exileh tried to push out the wave, ends up dying as well. So good response.
It's also good play from Jesiz, and a support who has extremely...
Look at this. Okay, there is actually a ward, but it disappears, so now it's gone. Caps knows this ward is going to disappear, and he still plays on top side, meaning now he doesn't actually see the gank early. The fact he had a ward though does excuse it a little bit, so I'll definitely take back some of the blame right there. Didn't actually see it was there so early on.
Yeah.
But just expired, and as soon as it expires, Xerxe shows up on that top side. And the thing normally you would see is Caps would have been to the bottom side, because that's where his jungler is. That's where he had a control ward, and he had full vision of, you know, anything really. But he was playing on the other side. He thought he had the ward to cover him, just disappeared. So honestly, a little bit unlucky in that sense from Caps. Definitely want to take back some of that play.
Just a little bit, right? And of course, Exileh and Xerxe, then they stuck around, allowed Jesiz to come in and pick up a reply with the help of Broxah. I was just mentioning before the replay came up, Jesiz as a support has the highest ADC proximity in the game in the early stages.
What is proximity here?
What it means is Jesiz is within 2,000 range of his AD carry over a defined period of time. And it basically means Jesiz holds Rekkles' hand a lot, lanes with him, sticks with him, and he's not roaming a huge amount. However, we just saw the opposite, roaming to mid, helping out Broxah, and getting a kill for Fnatic.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to the fact that Fnatic, when they play this laning phase, as you said, it's a lot about like Rekkles and Jesiz winning 2v2, getting pressured 2v2, and then when they get out of laning phase, either if they're behind or ahead, they have to go mid lane together, because we often see Caps play side lane. So it's Jesiz and Rekkles in mid, defending, again, playing next to each other, and it obviously gives a very high proximity near that AD carry.
How much time they spend next to each other.
A word and a stat we use often that is not always clearly defined.
Yeah, we're trying to make it a little bit more, you know, standard. It'll come with some time, and Deficio, Hylissang, looking to clear out the control ward as best he can. We've not spent a lot of time in the top lane. sOAZ throws down the Dominus. There's Vizicsacsi. His Spirit's Refuge times out. One slice for sOAZ. He's holding on to the dice for now. It's just timed out. Kolomeek to get some sustain. And sOAZ, he's not pushed that wave into Chachi yet. Teleport's available for sOAZ at least. Oh, very good from Caps. Miasma, and gets the Stand United. Oh, that's big.
Really big for Fnatic and trade bot lane.
That also, could that thwart the dive? Was Xerxe thinking about it?
No, I think they want level 6 on Zilean before they go for crazy shenanigans. But that mid lane, this is what we said in Champs, like Unicorns, when they overstep, like to use the Shen ulti to kind of save the day. Sometimes it means they get a few kills from it. Other times it means it's just used very defensively. And that is a big cooldown. The reason you pick Shen is for this ulti.
Yeah.
He's not gonna just win his lane, so the fact that now the ulti's on cooldown, Fnatic will time that and be like, yeah, we don't care about top. Top doesn't exist. This champion is no longer a thing until the ulti is back up.
And there's a teleport advantage as well. So sOAZ, for at least a little while, could make a play.
Yeah, that means Fnatic now, on the bottom side, can force the play. First we see Broxah top lane.
All right, sOAZ actually was backing away. That's a flash from Vizicsacsi.
But the thing is now, level 6 Malzahar, TP on Renekton. If you want to force a bot lane tower, you can do it as Fnatic. Flash ulti from Jesiz, TP in from sOAZ, and there shouldn't be any response from Unicorns of Love because they have no Shen ulti, no Shen TP. Other option is you go to the top lane and you play around sOAZ. Either you send up the dual lane and you push in the tower and take it. You have Broxah going up there. There are actually so many plays Fnatic can make right now because they have pressure bot lane due to TP advantage and pressure top lane due to Renekton versus Shen.
It's kind of the opposite of game one, isn't it?
In many ways.
Game one, Unicorns had all those tools. sOAZ, he snuck his way into this top push. There's no flash for Vizicsacsi. Oh, that kind of fizzled. A slice forward and a dice. Dominus as well. Ruthless Predator locks down Vizicsacsi. sOAZ decides not to stick around under the tower. But that means there's no ultimate if they wanted to make a pressure play elsewhere. Jesiz in the mid lane. Ghost and Flash available to Exileh and support. So Fnatic going to be so cautious here.
Again, would love to see Fnatic have another member top lane. Oh, Exileh here with the rest of the team. Jesiz opting out of it, but I think sOAZ will get so much damage on this tower now. We'll actually be able to take it down. So Fnatic right now didn't even need to send backup for it. They're like, yeah, you're on your own. And the reason they can actually get the tower now is because Unicorns are investing everything on the bottom side of the map. Normally they would have someone top here to kind of just like force sOAZ to back, but actually allowing sOAZ to take a tower.
Broxah's on a ward. Look at the damage from Xerxe. Actually retrades back evenly. The fight's not over yet. That's a stun onto Broxah. He gets dropped down. Exileh gets another for UOL. Here comes Caps looking for a petrifying gaze. Twin Fangs needed. Not going to get it yet. Hylissang gets turned. Chrono Shift has already been used. There's the cleanse from Caps. Flashes forward. Stand United comes back available. And all of a sudden UOL win.
Man, just when Fnatic had so many options. Unicorns, they say, screw the top lane. We don't need to go stop Renekton from killing this tower. We can just force a play in the bottom side. And Fnatic, they got caught. Now TP bot lane by sOAZ.
All right, coming in behind both Samux and Exileh. Samux has got a flash. Exileh looks to run down Rekkles. Heal is still available. Rekkles may need that. He's enlisted 6 minions to help fight. The spell flux spreads, but it doesn't kill the wave. sOAZ is going to come in behind Exileh. Looking at Hilly.
Won't get anything.
Well, ultimate wasted teleports.
It's a bit like the last game here where it's actually very even. It looks pretty decent for Fnatic. And then when Unicorns just turn up the tempo, Fnatic can't react. Wasted teleport there from sOAZ might give him a dragon, so not fully wasted in that sense. But obviously then he could have walked back to top lane and still TP down if he was needed at the dragon. So he didn't get the kill he was looking for. But he did stop the tower from taking damage.
It's so important to say that again. You know, the tempo, the decisive play from Unicorns of Love. Xerxe's kind of been leading the way. 3-0-1, involved in every single kill the Unicorns have put on the board, and it's because of this.
So Fnatic, at this point, they don't have to take a fight here. They can back away right now. Right now, they can just back away. But no, they step in, double bomb from Hylissang, great engage, and then instant follow-up by Unicorns. Every single player on the same page. This was 3 guys. Samux is running from bot lane, he's not here. Vizicacsi's top lane, he's not helping either until now. Right there. So this was 3 members from Unicorns. Let's see with Exileh.
All right, sOAZ continues to chase. It's currently a 1-on-2. Caps was just too far away. sOAZ completed that Black Cleaver, and sOAZ wants to win. He's playing very aggressively this game.
And sOAZ did his job. Won his lane, took his top lane tower. All he needed was for the team to just not opt into a fight, because he was getting that free tower. 2 things could have happened. Unicorns would force fights on the bottom side, and Fnatic would get top tower. Unicorns send someone top lane to defend. sOAZ would just back away, not get the tower, but he would get it later then, and it would be fine. None of those would actually put Unicorns ahead if Fnatic didn't opt into it, and they actually did.
Opting in. Xerxe opts in. Gonna use the Battle Roar to escape. That's a stun! Skegfile gets caught out. No Stand United available. Vizicsacsi's looking for Caps. Curtain Call won't find the kill. Caps goes down. Mid laners are secured. There was a teleport and a flash from Chachi that was needed.
Well, once again, a lot of action in these games here. Unicorns, they want to play this style. Fnatic opting into it. Trying to dance with the Unicorns.
As it stands, Fnatic, they've got the map objectives. They've got the tower, the dragon. Unicorns have got all the kills. Correction. Xerxe has got all of the kills.
So far, we like their Zilean here from Hylissang, landing a lot of those bombs here. Let's see it again. So now set up on the bottom side. This time, there's Shen teleport. No Renekton TP, and Xerxe just using the W to get out straight away.
Yeah. Xerxe doesn't really care. He sees, sees a champion, he jumps on him. And now Xerxe and Samux, they're gonna work together on this bottom outer turret. That'll be the first of the game for the Unicorns of Love as he gets closer to 15 minutes. And Deficio, Caps gets caught up, but he's not stunned by those bombs. sOAZ, luckily in range to support his team members. And that means Unicorns are forced to back away.
But I love that we're going to keep getting more and more fights, because Unicorns, again, can play multiple lanes. Shen will just try and hold his own, but Exileh wants to try and push on the other side. That means Fnatic will spread out. That means Xerxe will find his openings, he will find his fights. Fnatic, they don't really have anywhere they can send the Cassiopeia safely. If you put a bot lane against Ryze, Rengar, Shen, damn, she's done. She's dead instantly. So Fnatic kind of have to play like this 1-4 setup, where whenever Unicorns are forcing something, they have to react. They have to try and match it and fight against them. They can use the Malzahar though to force fights. We want to see a good game here from Jesiz. Moby boots, extra mobility to kind of get close enough to then flash in an ulti. Problem is Hylissang will try and counter that.
Alright, gonna use that chrono shift if he can. Of course, Stand United available as well. So, Fnatic looking for the 1-4. Unicorns of Love, in the previous game, they wanted a 1-3-1. What does their team composition want to do this time around? It feels like they could, but less effective.
Yeah, it's the same, just without a winning top laner. So it's a more defensive-minded Shen, but with double globals. So whenever you do force a fight, the first one, Renekton will match. But then when you do it the second time, Renekton will not match, and you get the numbers advantage. So that's not good for Fnatic, if that ever happens.
But it also means Unicorns need to pull it off multiple times. And what ended up happening in the previous game is, as the game played out, it was the repeated attempts at making plays that made them lose focus.
Unicorns wants skirmishes. And you always get more skirmishes than team fights. Like, you might get 1 or 2 big team fights in a game, and if you lose those, well, the game is most likely over. Skirmishes, that can happen all the time. You force one, you use the Shen ulti, Renekton has to TP in, boom, you get 1 or 2 kills maybe, or you just go dead even. And then you back away, and you do the same thing next time with the second global from Vizicsacsi. He has to accept though, he's going to get pushed in. That's what he's doing now. And you can see Exileh bottom lane, and you see 4 members of Fnatic mid lane. They're trying to react to the push. They have to send someone down to defend though on the bottom side, and that opens up for Unicorns to suddenly make a play here. Catch someone in the rotation with Xerxe, Hylissang. That's what they're doing in the jungle now. They're looking for that one guy who's going to the bottom lane to defend.
Oh,
didn't find him.
Rekkles able to Arcane shift over the wall, but he's going to go toe-to-toe with Exileh here. Exileh has got a lot of damage. The overload into Rune Prison. Shield comes up.
And you can see Unicorns now have multiple options. They can trade in the bottom lane because Exileh is strong. Or they can go mid lane with 4 members while Rekkles is stuck defending on the bottom side. So by doing this, constantly pushing these 2 lanes, mid and bot lane, and taking over the jungle, Fnatic has to take the long route around. Look at your minimap instead of this fight. Actually, look at the fight. Look at the fight.
So as he's used the ultimate, Flash is available for Vizicsacsi. sOAZ is going to need to back away. Looking to cull the meat, get some sustain. Look at the support from Samux. He's coming from the river. Where's the rest of Fnatic? sOAZ, he used to be a god at escaping unescapable situations. There's no dice. Flashes away from the taunt. Now the curtain call, going to be sidestepped. Cull the Meek gets some survivability. Blast Cone sends him back into the lane. sOAZ, the fabled escape king, slices forward. God. He's not done yet. Dice should still be available. Once again,
next
looks like he should be able to sustain. This should be a kill. And the credit goes to Vizicsacsi.
Close. He bought a lot of time. Sadly, the rest of Fnatic haven't been able to use it just yet, but they're going for Dragon now.
I still feel disappointed, right?
Why?
Like, you see those plays happen, and sOAZ has teleported out of moments like that so many times in the past.
While it didn't look like he got anything at first, Fnatic just waited for Unicorns to step away, and then they take a Dragon for it. So, good old sOAZ with the classic run around, ring around the roses, whatever you want to call it.
I'm surprised you know that one.
Well, Trevor, I've been spending too much time with you.
I know. 163 minutes. No, 153 minutes yesterday.
Yes.
It was a lot.
That was a lot. I wasn't where I learned it, but you learned something yesterday. I'm very glad you learned it.
I did indeed. And hopefully we'll get an Alistair. It was banned this game. We'll talk about it a little bit more. For now, though, Fnatic, 2 dragons, even on towers. It's getting to mid-game quite comfortably, quite clearly, with the towers starting to fall. But if you look at the minimap, and every time I look at the minimap, it feels like UOL have got slightly better vision.
I mean, the thing is, Unicorns have a winning side lane right now that they play around. Samux has to be a little bit careful, but he has Shen.
Okay, so Samux will get Vizicsacsi to deliver. sOAZ is not done yet. He's now going to be forced to run away. Jesiz can buy some time near the grass, under the tower, with the help of that Void Swarm. Vizicsacsi's now forced away. Broxah, collateral damage onto Samux. That's not enough for the kill. And that means Fnatic, they save sOAZ's life.
And sOAZ does teleport in case Unicorns stay and push.
The rest of Unicorns looking at the minimap. They're pushing into the top quadrant of the jungle. Caps moving towards that Raptor camp, wants to try and defend. And at the same time, Rekkles is pushing into the bottom lane.
Yeah, because Samux stepped forward and got caught here by sOAZ, kind of stopped Unicorns from doing anything. Mid lane, Caps didn't get to connect with the ulti. Exileh still very healthy there. Back to pushing top now. Chachi is very low though.
Yeah, he is indeed. Malefic Visions and the Void Swarm push him away, and Rekkles will end up taking the tower.
And it's one of those moments where the idea is correct from Unicorns. Hey, let's put AD carry top in here, let's push in top lane, let's send four members to top side and get that tower. Almost.
So close.
Almost.
Literally the last minion or so.
But because Samux right there, kind of sleeping a little bit and got caught by sOAZ, it forced Unicorns back. They could now get that top lane tower. And Fnatic, while being under pressure, just took a tower and they're evening the goal. Like, it is so even in this game right now. Small things here and there. Correct calls, slightly wrong execution, and then suddenly Fnatic gets an advantage. sOAZ running around, boom, Fnatic gets a dragon. Like, they've been getting small things here, and it's all built around the Renekton. Very good engagement from sOAZ against Samux.
Exileh very aggressively trading forward. He knows he's got a chrono shift backing him up. That's arguably why he's doing that. But Fnatic, on the other hand, going even into 21 minutes. Broxah, big respect flash a little bit earlier. Xerxe threw down Thrill of the Hunt. Broxah didn't want to run the risk of being caught by Xerxe in Exileh. And I'm looking at support in the top lane. No one from Fnatic to defend. So Vizicsacsi will have as much time as his heart desires. And as it stands, none. Stand United teleport available, and the rest of Unicorns grouping up in the mid lane.
Might be sitting on quite a lot of gold on Shen. Actually didn't have that much, but he went back to base to go bottom side and hold again with TP. Same setup, Exileh top lane. He's the winning lane that Unicorns can play around. So now the next objective is the top side jungle of Fnatic. That's where you want to get your vision, have the control wards in the entrance, get your wards down further in so you can spot Fnatic and let Exileh get these outer turrets. We saw him bot lane, now we see him top lane do exactly the same. This is where Fnatic is forced to find some sort of fight.
Defensive flash there from Jesiz. Another summoner spell blown. Xerxe is going to throw down the ulti. Broxah, remember, can't flash to safety. Curtain call's not going to be enough to pick up a kill, though. Luckily for Fnatic, they get away unscathed. At least for now. In game one, Unicorns had a gorgeous Baron setup. Let's see if they can do it again. Maybe they don't need to do it again. Jesiz, nether grasp onto Exileh. Exileh's QSS gets him to safety, but the Void Swarm, he walks back into it. Manages to get the shield thanks to those runes, and Caps, battle roared down.
Yeah, Caps getting caught on the bottom side, but Unicorns, they're going for more.
They are. Broxah, he's out of position. Vizicsacsi gets the Shadow Dash taunt, which secures the kill. All of a sudden, Unicorns with 2 quick kills and 1 outer turret remaining. They're going to push Fnatic even further back.
Again, it's all about Unicorns putting pressure on multiple lanes and then finding fights around mid lane. Fnatic trying to dance and simply not able to do it. Unicorns always feels like they're getting a bit of an advantage when we have these fights. Now they're going for swords in the bottom lane.
Yeah, trying to dance with the Unicorns. sOAZ, good flash just at the last second there. It's out of range, and Unicorns, they haven't finished the siege until this moment, as now it looks like they're all backing away. And again, Fnatic fall behind. It is later, it is less than game one, but that crisp, no hesitation style of UOL is punishing them.
Yeah, Exileh TPing in like very aggressive ulti from him, but he has QSS, and then Caps has to kind of go down towards the bottom side of the map, and then he will of course get chased down. As soon as the engage happens, Fnatic scatter instantly. They split up very, very quickly. Because probably all calling Ryze. Because he's like behind him, like, hey, Ryze is here. QSS, he kites around, he doesn't die, and then Caps ends up dying.
Problem is, everyone's eyes are on Ryze, and you forget the snake in the bush, and then Caps dies. It's a problem for Fnatic.
Definitely a problem.
Deficio, Fnatic are nearly 3,000 gold behind, but in game 1, that comeback victory was the largest of the spring split this year. Stats team have just pinged me and updated me. But their team composition allowed it. I don't feel like this team composition will have that same flexibility if they're put in the same position.
No, but they're going for a Baron here. They snuck over the wall with both Renekton and Ezreal. Exileh is running around.
Exileh
didn't spot it. He didn't see it. He didn't see it.
What? How?
Because he had no idea this is happening. Like, he thinks Fnatic are just sitting back defending. Now the blue trinket is on. They're on the way. They might still be able to fight.
No, you're kidding.
Oh, the take damage from behind.
The Baron down to 1,200. Picked up by Fnatic. How many people die? Jesiz is killed. sOAZ is killed. So is Broxah and Rekkles.
Oh,
no,
the recall.
The Sunfire Cape. That interrupts it. All right, Mystic Shot and Arcane Shift. Here comes Xerxe over the side. Petrifying Gaze stuns nobody. The entire Fnatic team is in trouble. Rekkles will be jumped on. Spirit's Refuge blocks all those attacks, and Rekkles goes down. Fnatic are ace!
Oh, they tried to sneak that Baron with Unicorns going for the Dragon, but so many Unicorns members were still near the mid lane. And then, of course, Exileh, who ran by the Baron, didn't see a thing. And then suddenly they realized this was getting a little bit fishy. Where was Fnatic on the map right now? They find him, they killed him. 25 minutes in, Trevor, base is open.
They see the fish, they shoot the fish in a barrel. Fnatic are aced, and it just... I've never seen that. I've never seen that. I've never seen somebody walk past the Baron pit and not look into it. Oh my word.
But like, he's simply, we can see everything obviously. For him, he's just like, yeah, they were just sitting back, they're waiting, I need to push this wave. Now, I know this call didn't work for Fnatic, but I love seeing these kind of calls. Like,
I agree.
I love when you're behind, you're like, okay, we think they're going on the bottom side to kill the dragon. Maybe we can sneak this, you know. Creative moves. Something we shouldn't always be too negative about. Promise, so they're behind the Baron, so they take a ton of AoE damage, because when you have more members behind than in front, Baron will fire up the spikes again and again. And then the rest of Unicorns just, of course, chasing them down. Another thing I love to watch is people just sidestepping the Cassiopeia ulti. Oh, actually, just flashed. Never mind. I thought he just turned around.
Even better.
Yeah, I thought he turned around.
What is more impressive, the flash or the sidestep?
I mean,
if you had to rate it, you have to.
I'm gonna say the sidestep. I love it. I love seeing the sidesteps. I also then love seeing Cassiopeia players who delay their ulti. Because they're like, ah, you thought I did it. But obviously, if you're very fast on low ping Trev, you can almost always do it.
Flash for flash. Xerxes' Thrill of the Hunt comes down. sOAZ has a teleport available.
Jesiz.
Jesiz, where are you going, my friend? He's running away from the rest of UOL. Cap screams to death. Somehow, Hylissang has gone down. I didn't quite see exactly where that one was.
It was a Graves ulti just here where Xerxe is right now. Hylissang did not expect it.
No.
And he ends up dying despite having ulti up. But Unicorns will get a top tower. They've already gotten mid inhib, and there's definitely not the same wave clear on Fnatic like in the last game.
No, there is not. Stalling capabilities diminished. It is a 4-on-4, but there's no mid laner for Fnatic, so it's up to Rekkles and sOAZ to finish this one out. All right, Jesiz has already flashed to safety.
And now let's look here. QSS is on Exileh. No QSS on Jhin. That is an opening for Jesiz. The classic flash R. I'm a professional player. I can click 2 buttons and I'm useful. And that is enough to at least force a Zilean ulti, and that's the worst part, because the best you might get is the Zilean ulti. So, engage here in Hylissang, this time with the sidestep around.
There we go.
Did not see their ulti from Broxah.
I was so busy watching Broxah run away.
Well, he ran away and killed Hylissang at the same time.
Looking at sOAZ, number of UOL pings on his position in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, as you can see, a number of wards as well. Unicorns of Love pushed that vision all the way into Fnatic's jungle. Baron has timed out. And Dragon will be up in a few minutes' time. But yeah, the base is the objective, right? Yep. UOL, 1-3-1, engage. Let's see if they can set that down. Flash away from the stun. Sidestep the root. Bowler will lock him into place. Dominus buys time. Stand United as well. And Samux with the crit. He gets the kill.
It's so hard to play against like Ryze CC, Rengar CC. Is that a double stun from a Zilean? Yeah, is that a taunt as well? Like, so many things to just keep you down.
Yeah.
If you get hit once. Now they're pushing in for this one. Let's see if the Unicorns just want to dive. They have the Zilean ulti. It's only 4 members on Fnatic.
Inhibitor in the mid lane still a little while before their respawns, probably just over a minute. Looking at that correctly. Gonna usher those super minions in, and the top lane actually will be crashing into Fnatic's tower in the knots. No, it's actually pushing back.
That's why Charge is on the way up. He has the...
Yep.
Actually, he doesn't have any teleport right now. So it's just back out. So this might just stop Unicorns from pushing. The fact they needed the top lane wave first, they'll go back, they kind of reset, they get a Drake more. Now the Baron is probably going to spawn for
I want to
them.
go back to what you said a second ago to Deficio a little while ago. The Fnatic call to sneak that Baron, just how creative it was. How opportunistic it was.
Right.
Yes, the execution was a little messy, but I love the concepts.
Exactly. You can always have great ideas. Doesn't always mean that they end up working for you.
Taking a look at the damage this game so far. Exileh doing great work on that Ryze. Samux on his Jhin, just marginally ahead of Rekkles on the Ezreal. And looking at Samux in terms of some of his damage, we've touched on, you know, his laning prowess, and then the team fight damage. Lowest damage percentage of his team, second highest death percentage, but Samux isn't like the core carry for the Unicorns of Love team. It is about Exileh and Xerxe and Vizicsacsi.
I mean, Samux talked about this last week when he had an interview with you, and he
Hanging
said...
out in the herd.
In the herd, yeah. In the herd. Basically, he just said, you know what? My job is utility. I just press R. That's AD carry right now for me. And as long as he's doing that, well, then he's actually adding value to Unicorns of Love. And it's been working pretty well. Unicorns, they want that Baron, though. They want that lovely, lovely Baron. And Fnatic trying again to hold on another 20 minutes. So goal difference means nothing. But it's not a Victor. It's not a Varus. It's like Cassiopeia wave clear, Ezreal wave clear. It's just not as quick.
And you've got a Renekton top lane instead of Nautilus. So that front line is...
not as big either.
Very different.
Very different.
Very different. But if there is one thing that does somewhat play into Fnatic's favor, if they can find Exileh, or in this case, just catch out Vizicsacsi near the grasp and sOAZ, trying to run him down, taking a lot of time. The rest of Unicorns, they're pushing down the base. Remember, Fnatic, they've committed 2 members to try and kill Vizicsacsi, who has teleport and flash. Stand united. Vizicsacsi will get run down shortly, not before he's pulling Jesiz and sOAZ away. Inhibitor in the mid lane goes down. Ruthless Predator locks him up. But there's a big time window, 50 seconds. It's so risky. I don't know if Fnatic can risk Baron.
If Fnatic can risk Baron, well, they're 5v4. They can at least stop Unicorns from doing Baron right now. They lost their mid inhib, which would have been very hard to defend anyway. So all in all, it's actually a good call that it kind of sacrificed something they couldn't defend for a kill that now stops Unicorns from actually doing Baron.
Yeah, but they stand united up. So if Fnatic dilly-dally, then Vizicsacsi can just stand united in. UOL will have an engage. They can use that stealth ninja with Xerxe on Thrill of the Hunt.
And sadly for Fnatic, they couldn't really get more after trading a kill for Inhib. Weren't really strong enough to just rush Baron against 4 members of Unicorns. Again, keep in mind, they're 7k gold down.
Yeah.
That would have normally been a call for them in a 5v4 situation. So now they have to just accept that they delayed the Unicorns of Love, which at this point is almost the best you can hope for.
There's no vision inside the pit. A reminder that Unicorns of Love, they're down 0-1 in the series. So Unicorns with this Baron and the supers in the mid lane. Now they're going to look to close out. They're going to look to get past their PTSD and actually kill a Nexus. There are very, very few teams that close a game as intriguingly, interestingly. It's not really a word, but I'm going to use it.
It's a word now.
As the Unicorns of Love.
You could just told me it was a word, I would have believed you.
I know you would have, but I got some really dirty looks from the crowd. There's a few lads in from London who would definitely have schooled me, because that's not a word.
A few lads from London.
Yeah, that's what they call themselves.
Do they call themselves lads?
The fellas.
I know.
Yeah.
The bros. Do you have any
we
lads?
Are so nerdy. Like, we can't pull that
How
off.
are we nerdy, Trevor? We talk about League of Legends for a living. How is that nerdy? Come on. That's one of the least nerdy things I know.
Well, Deficio, you don't know a lot, apparently. because the Unicorns of Love, they're 10k up. They've got Baron. They've got 1-1-3 initiated. Exileh can use that short-range Realm Warp to join any of his teammates. And Fnatic, how do they defend this situation?
Well, kind of depends on Unicorns, because if you're a Fnatic and if Unicorns don't want to really push further, you just keep wave clearing. But you shouldn't be allowed to, so that's why Unicorns will just force them off now. And then you should just get damage on tower. Just hit the tower. Thank you very much. There we go. Base is now open again on the bottom side.
All right, the rest of Unicorns now onto inhibitor number 2. Mid lane is already down. There's not a lot of minions to work with in the top. And Unicorns just, League of Legends by the numbers. Move your attention elsewhere. Actually, no, they're just going to use Baron to guide these supers onto the Nexus turret.
Yeah, they just want to keep Fnatic at the turrets. That's why they make sure the minions push all the way in. Top lane wave is arriving, so they're going to do the same thing again. They kind of hold the minion wave, and they didn't say, hold the hands of the minion wave, push it in. Then they can go up top and get some damage. Staying on bottom side again, though. They do want to take this tower down.
They do. Caps eats at least one of those time bombs.
That's a big one. Bob is in the building.
Yeah, Banner of Command on that siege cannon. Supers continuing to pour through. The bottom lane supers will be here very, very shortly. Nexus turret number 1, that's gonna fall. That's more than UOL got in the first game. Jesiz is tagged by one of those shots as Xerxe uses the Battle Roar to escape. Jesiz stays alive. Nethergrasp is still available to him, but there's no more towers. Xerxe continues to get tagged by those Mystic shots. sOAZ is the target. He's stunned, he's rooted, he's killed. Exile's on the killing spree. Jesiz looking to use Nethergrasp on Chachi, but it's a double kill for Exileh. He's throwing out overloads for days. Petrifying Gaze locks up 2. Samux doesn't get killed though, and Rekkles is on the steps. He's not going to get popped. The Nexus turret is down. The Nexus is falling. Unicorns of Love force a deciding game.
This time, the wave there wasn't the same. The scaling wasn't the same for Fnatic and Unicorns of Love. They find their way to the Nexus, and I think it's safe to say that they've been the best team here, both games. Like, they were winning and winning and winning game 1. Couldn't close it, lost a big late game team fight, game was over. This game again, big advantage in the mid game from the Unicorns of Love. Twice now, naughty. Twice now they've been able to actually do this. So right now they look better than Fnatic in the mid game. And that is why they get these big goal leads.
Better in the early game, better decisive decision making in the mid game. It just feels like as a unit, they're all on the same page, because the moment somebody goes in, there's no hesitation. And that is what has allowed Unicorns to pull those leads, as you mentioned. Now, Fnatic, they looked better in game 2, but it still wasn't enough. So what do they have to change going into game 3?
Ooh, I mean, it's hard because you can't just improve like this, being on the same page. The synergy just in the moment or between games. Maybe draft more for early game if you want to try and match Unicorns.
Okay.
Could be an answer, but it can be very difficult to do.
All right, we'll find out what they do in just a moment. Before that, let's take a closer look at game 2. We have Zilean problems, but the analyst test just ain't one.
Damn, I thought you were going to nail the delivery Jay-Z style, but it was pretty good style. Right, still thank you. QuickShot and Unicorns of Love, they bring it back. They don't let Fnatic close it out. And much like game 1, they had a fantastic early game again.
Yeah, Xerxe had a very significant part into the Unicorns' success. He had a fantastic early level 1 or level 2 gank in the mid lane, punishing the positioning of gaps, trying to play aggressively, and Xerxe just pathing in a way where he can take advantage of that.
Are we sure he wasn't level 3?
He may have been level 3. Regardless, it was an early gank where Xerxe dived on top of him cat style.
And it's also Caps misplaying. He really smashed that keyboard just like that. Deficio highlighted it in the game, but it was worth noting that Caps again was leaning to the wrong side there. If your jungle's right side, just play accordingly. And it's these silly mistakes that it doesn't matter how good a player is. This guy almost plays flawlessly when he's weaving in left and right, changing targets, ulting, sidestepping, movement like a monster. But then he dies to level 3 gank, leading to a brush.
And we actually can highlight some of the great plays that Caps made, because our very first replay highlights a really cool trade that he actually set up in the mid lane, where just have a look at Caps' awareness here, because he gets a great stun off and then he's able to just disengage the moment the Shen ult comes.
Yeah, and it shows you what a successful Shen ulti can mean, or also what an unsuccessful means for Fnatic, or what an actual successful Shen ulti means here in the case for Unicorns. What I want you to track in this fight though is just Rekkles, and his impact in this fight. So he goes left, he goes right, Broxah goes aggressive again, so Rekkles is like, you know what? Turn around.
Every now and then.
And walk to the fight. He does 1 Q and it's like, ah, we're done here. So, and what I want to highlight here is not Rekkles' inability to play the game, but this is a team communication issue. We saw this fight replayed multiple times in the game, and it looked super close. But in essence, what ends up happening is Broxah's over-chasing and defending the vision, while the team call is spread out and fix the lanes. And you can only do one at once. So Rekkles, in his mind, is going back to the lane, and then he looks, is like, wait, they're fighting? I didn't hear any comms. He looks over, his jungler is dead, his support is being like attacked while meta grasping. He walks up, throws a Q, is like, oh, I guess we're done here. And then he dies anyway. It's like, so that's the problem for Fnatic right now. They're not setting up enough in advance, and they're playing purely reactionary.
Well, I think that the second replay also shows that, because the fight breaks out in the mid lane, and then Rekkles also nowhere to be found. Now, this isn't faulting one or the other, but it is a communication issue.
You can see that Fnatic are the ones to start pushing up this lane. And again, look at your minimap. Rekkles is forced onto wave clear duty in the top lane, and this is just a window for Unicorns of Love to force a play in the mid. And it echoes exactly what you were saying. Where is the communication here from Fnatic? There's no need for them to be pushing this far up in the mid lane when they know they don't have the full 5-man unit, and it is so easy for the Unicorns to force these kind of engagements.
Yeah, just to be clear, the pushing mid is the problem, not the fact that they had to put someone up against the Ryze, right?
No, somebody has to hold there. It's just a problem, like, you cannot play the map on all fronts at once, and you need to be mindful of what's happening in your side lanes. And I think that's one of the Unicorn's strengths that they've developed, is that they put tremendous side lane pressure. They started out all the way back in the time with kind of the Yasuo from Exileh, and we had this like meme of like he's overextending and dying, but they were in the learning stage of the kind of 1-3-1 right there, and Unicorns actually play side lanes pretty well. They failed last game at the very end when everybody was like this close to the Nexus, then it gets very hard. But like they're forcing Fnatic to defend, and then they force fights with Shen. This has been their bread and butter, so really don't give him Shen again.
No, don't give him Shen again. A lot of victories on that champion. And we want to take a look at one more thing, because it was so entertaining. And honestly, I like the call from Fnatic, though. Like, you're so far behind.
Everybody loves this call.
Just look at the vision from the Unicorns, because they're setting up, right? They're in the setting up phase. They need to deal with the top line pressure, and there's absolutely no vision of the Baron buff. I can see your hand.
No, but I want to say Xerxe's opinion matters. Then everybody should like this. Xerxe, you're allowed to like this call. I would have loved to see Jesiz kind of jump in the pit and tank the Nashor for his team as well. Yes, he stops Xerxe here, but it's more important that they do it as soon as they can, and then they get the hell out of dodge. This is very unfortunate, by the way.
Yeah.
Sunfire blocks Rekkles' base, and then he has to jump out. They get aced. I love teams that go down fighting. I hate it when people turtle and then eventually slowly lose the game.
You hate it when people turtle.
The beauty of turtling has been lost forever. There's a certain element of grace to turtling.
Since season 2.
When people learn how to properly play the game is where it became difficult to successfully
Sometimes you just gotta step down and move to the next part in your career. But you can't always stay at the top of Support Kingdom.
All right, so when are you moving away from the caster? Okay, right, no more silliness. This is a very important matter. This could have very big implications for these teams in the standings. So as we go into Game 3, Unicorns of Love now 2 games in a row. Strong early game. Unfortunately, didn't manage to close it out in Game 1. Who do you see taking the series?
I think Unicorns have looked convincing throughout the series so far. Even after their blunder in Game 1, they've still demonstrated fantastic setup, fantastic communication, and they just seem to be a level above Fnatic.
I think especially if you look at this game where they had a strong jungler in Fnatic, Graves that should at least duel Rengar early. They had the dive potential with the Renekton, and Fnatic never pulled that off. That for me is kind of a worrying trend. So for that reason, I'll also go for the Unicorns 2-1.
Okie dokie. Well, when we return, we will have the final deciding match of the evening between the Unicorns of Love and Fnatic. See you in 3.5.
From Caps back just forward. Shadow United comes back available, and all of a sudden UOL win. No, you're kidding. Oh, they're down from behind. The Baron down to 1,200. Picked up by Fnatic. How many people died? Jesiz is killed. sOAZ is killed. So is Broxah. Rekkles.
Oh, what a recall.
The Sunfire cave. The Nexus turret is down. The Nexus is falling. Unicorns of Love force a deciding game.